Okay, Jerry here. This is an amazing case. In Washington, D.C., it's rigged, kind of like fake wrestling. Very rarely do you have a surprise because the fix is in, so to speak. But in this case, with Hunter Biden, Shockaroonie, man, uh, Judge Mary Ellen Noreika shocked the whole swamp, all creatures, participants, visitors, everybody to the swamp of D.C. got shocked because the fix that was in for Hunter Biden fell apart. Federal prosecutors, I'm reading here in part from a number of sources. This one is from foxnews.com. Federal prosecutors had to grant Hunter Biden blanket immunity originally for a multitude of his felonies that he obviously committed cocaine. Uh, I mean, I forgot, there's six of them, eight of them, 10 of them, whatever. Otherwise, President Biden's leading role in his son's multi-million dollar influence peddling schemes would have been fully exposed. You can't have that, right? Especially when you're president. Unless you're Donald Trump, of course, you expose everything. So the feds wrapped up this absurdly lenient plea, like a slap on the wrist here, and pretty much like an early Christmas present. And it was a done deal, fait accompli. And the judge, Norika, she just socked it to him. Reminds me of Harper Valley PTA, the old song by Jeannie T. Riley. Boom! Ebenezer Scrooge declared bah humbug here. That's what it says in the Fox report here. I like the way they put that. The stunning events unfolded. It was very obvious that they were protecting the boss, the big man, Joe Biden, by hook or by crook from a cavalcade of conspiracy crimes that grow stronger in evidence of the Oversight Committee in the House and is having appalling graft epidemic among the Biden followers. So their self-enrichment scams with the nation's enemies constitute the most damning corruption scandal in the history of politics, a shameful selling out of America for profit. What goes through their heads? If you're going to be president of the United States, you're already a vice president. How much more money do you need? How much more fame do you need? How much more glory do you need? I mean, Donald Trump took the job for $1 a month, or no, $1 a year. I think he took. Maybe it was $1 a month, $12 a year. Donated it to charity. He didn't even want a salary, and he had to put up with all that abuse for working for free. And he gets nailed for like January 6th. What is his crime? Oh, yeah, he was alive during January 6th. Therefore, he's guilty. We'll convict him for being alive on January 6th. Hello. Biden is not only alive, but doing corrupt deals with his son and everything else, according to testimony. Um, but it's a double standard. If it weren't for a two-tier justice system, there'd be no justice at all. If it weren't for double standards in this country, there'd be no standards at all. That's why we need a military tribunal to take Joe Biden out of the Oval Office and put where he belongs, in jail. That's according to Michael Letts. I'm just giving my opinion that I think Michael Letts might be onto something. Don't call this fake news. It's not fake news. These are real opinions on the Opinions channel. Right? Incriminating documents implicate the father as complicit in the son's overseas cons and shakedowns. Together, they leverage Joe Biden's public image and brand, as they call it, the Biden brand. I love your last name. I love your last name, he says, as he gives millions of dollars to them. Um, to get benefits overseas for governments in exchange for cold, hard cash funneled through a complex web of shell companies designed to hide the payola, baby. Follow the money. Now, I'm just saying it's my opinion that there's merit in these things. I'm not reporting it as news. I'm just saying there's merit, in my opinion, for these stories. So I better not get throttled back, Mr. Zuckerberg. I am just giving my opinions like armpits. We all have at least two opinions. Monday's planned closed door testimony of Hunter Biden's former partner, Devon Archer, is expected to shed meaningful light on the elder Biden's participation as being more than a mere bystander. That's what they wrote, and it did happen that way. I mean, after all, Joe Biden held the power of vice president. He had the president's ear. Hey, Barack, you do a little favor for my friend, you know how it works. One hand washes the other. What goes wrong comes around. Promises of access and future influence were dependent on his willingness to accept to exercise them for the benefit of adversaries of the United States, to the detriment of the United States' best interests. Hello, high crimes and misdemeanors in the Constitution. That's reason for impeachment and conviction. Very, very obvious. Archer's testimony. Well, that was my opinion, by the way. I'm not reporting that as news. This is the opinions channel. I can have all the opinions I want, right? You have your opinions? Give your opinions, post them. We'd like to see your comments. Archer's testimony sent shivers up my spine, and the rest in judgment in the Justice Department, or I should say the Injustice Department, in a last minute bid to scuttle Archer's appearance before the Oversight Committee, the Department of Injustice, opinion, injustice, empirical fact is called the Department of Justice, but it is my opinion they're acting unjustly. The Injustice Department filed a letter on Saturday intending to intimidate the witness into climbing up. The threat won't work. It's anticipated that Archer will educate the committee on the details of how Hunter Biden would often dial his father, well, dial, press the buttons, whatever. Hey, dial dad, however you get to him, during the most confidential meetings with foreign partners, according to the New York Post. We covered that yesterday. It happened 2 dozen times. Well, technically between 20 and 24, it was said. Fox was saying it happened 2 dozen times, approximately 2 dozen times. I think it was 22 or something like that. Other than meetings with Joe Biden that occurred in person, Archer is believed to have been a vital witness to it all. Oh my goodness. Therefore, Hunter dutifully flew to Dubai later, met in person with Burisma CEO, who insisted that he get the vice president on the phone to join the conversation. Hey, if I'm going to pay $10 million or whatever, I want to at least talk to the big man on the phone. Ever compliant, Joe Biden did as he was told. Hey, Barack, did you know the White House phone was used for this? Did you secure it for him or did he get this on his own? I don't know. It is no coincidence that Joe Biden, when he was vice president, traveled to Kiev and conveyed his infamous extortion demand to the government that the prosecutor investigating the natural gas company be fired or the United States would hold $1 million. Oh, no, maybe it was 100 million. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was $1 billion to withhold $1 billion of real fiat dollars, which are not really dollars, but they think they're dollars, and financial aid as penalty. Within hours, Ukrainian prosecutor General Viktor Shokin was canned. He got the left foot of fellowship from the leftist Democrat Party. Mission accomplished. How horrible. Later, Joe Biden couldn't resist bragging on camera about appearing before the council in my tongue's tied. Oh, tongue, untie yourself. The Council on Foreign Relations, the CFR. Wells, the son of a bee. Oh, they said a bad word. He got fired. Boasted Joe Biden, as usual, his hubris and well, I'm not saying he's stupid. He said his hubris, and Fox News says his stupidity did him in. Now, that's Fox News' opinion. I honor their right to their opinion. As for me, I actually saw Joe Biden speaking about 40 years ago or something on video. One of those square things instead of the long modern day videos or the upright, skinny reels. It's funny how it went from pretty much square to wide to tall, but it's not going to square again. Oh, wait a minute. Instagram is going back to square again. Voila. Nothing new under the sun. It's going back around again. But at any rate, he said that he was glad the son of a bee got fired and that he was responsible for it. This is a reason for impeachment. You just can't do that. And then covering the evidence of the war in Ukraine, who knows what all is getting blown up there in terms of records or whatever else. Who knows what kind of deals were made there? Who knows what kind of money laundering there might be going on there? I mean, if we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, who's to say that every bit of those billions of dollars made it for bombs? Not that we should anyway. We should not be in these endless wars. We never should have been in there in the first place, obviously. But if you dare say that one of those billions or one of those dollars did not go to bombs, then you could get throttled off of Facebook or YouTube, just like you get throttled down or kicked off if you dare say one vote was stolen. Even if you come up and say, I stole the vote myself, I was not registered and I stole one vote, and I know for a fact the vote was stolen. They still will kick you off because you didn't say 100% towing the line of the votes We're accurate. That's the world we live in. Phony is as phony does. At the time of the hustle, Hunter was pocketing an exorbitant 53, no, excuse me, 83. There's my tongue was tied and my eyeballs are seeing crooked. An exorbitant $83,000 per month from Burisma to sit on a board. Let's do the math here. Not a math major, but 83,000 times 12, that's $1 million. A million here, a million there. Eventually amounts to real money. Hey, just to sit on board with no experience in energy and no familiarity with language. He had less experience there than he had in the art business. At least in preschool, he did fingerprints, with tempera paints or whatever, selling artwork for millions of dollars, selling his knowledge on energy for billions of dollars or millions of dollars. Unbelievable. If Donald Trump, let me ask you your opinion. We're on the opinions channel here. If Donald Trump did any of these things, do you think he'd be in office? No. He'd be wearing a jumpsuit to match his hair when he doesn't touch it up. Orange on orange, or match his copper tone tan when he lets it go a little bit more on the orange side instead of the tan side. That's one thing I like about Donald Trump. He doesn't care. He'll use a cheap out of the bottle copper tone tan or Grecian formula or whatever he uses. And it starts to get old. He doesn't care. Blonde, red, orange, doesn't matter. Oh, brother. Now, the FBI's recently revealed FD 1023 form cites a trusted and credible confidential human source, CHS. I always wonder what that was. What is a CHS? I didn't want to sound stupid the other day. Someone asked me, "Oh, the CHS, what do you think of CHS?" Well, blustering away. Oh, I think of the CHS is not Kentucky Fried Chicken, that'd be KFC. CHS, don't know. The CHS, the confidential human source, as informing the Bureau that the Bidens banked an extra $10 million getting Shokin sacked. Hey, man, you take $10 million and you make sure the guy gets sacked. I mean, maybe it's safer selling a piece of artwork for $10 million. But who's the judge of whether it's good artwork or not? Art is in the eye of the beholder. I don't know what to say. Let me ask you, would you have believed any of this stuff would have happened just 10 years ago? Heck, would you believe it would have happened 3 years ago? Our country, I mean, Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, stepped down just because he wasn't getting quite the respect he thought he deserved. He stepped down. Nixon stepped down because he was dropping the polls. There was a certain amount of dignity in those days. There's a Republican and a Democrat. They both had some dignity. But now, stay in the office at all costs. Doesn't matter if you shred the Constitution. Doesn't matter if you completely treasonously sell out the United States Republic. There's no shame. There's no shame at all with these people. Shame on you people. There, I said it. Now there's shame on them. Okay, the article goes on, but regrettably, the case then was forwarded eventually for action to Delaware. Hello, Biden's been in Delaware, what, 30 times, I think, and since he's been in office. Well, it's his home state, but maybe he's taking care of some local things he doesn't want to come out. It was forwarded to the Delaware U.S. Attorney, which was where the Biden corruption cases all go to get exposed and live. No, it says, oh, where all the Biden corruption cases go to die. Under the stewardship of David Weiss, the office appears to have done nothing except cover it up. I got to remember that name, David Weiss, Weiss. If you want corruption to die, you go to David Weiss. It says here at Fox News. That's their opinion. I'm not reporting it as news. I'm reporting the opinion. Oh, but that's only if you're a Biden, though. I guess if Donald Trump were to go to David Weiss, I got a confession. I did this last week. Is this a confessional? Sure, David would say. You came for that to die? Yeah, we're going to be born again, that sin. We're going to let it live again, along with the Mueller investigation, the Russian hoax, and all the other impeachment conspiracies, this and that. We'll find a new one here to make that thing come alive again. Well, that's where it's at. Burisma, Biden, Brand, Payola. So here's the bottom line on all this. It's an equation. First, it's like a mathematical equation. First, part of the mess is Kamala Harris for a host of things we don't have the time to talk about right now. First, she's got to step down or be motivated to step down. Second, Biden's got to step down. And third, it's got to be President Kevin McCarthy. And if they try to put up a different vice presidential candidate, just keep blocking it and blocking it and blocking it. Congress, Senate, block, 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 block. That's what Democrats would do. We might as well do it too. Until they finally throw in the towel and agree to a deal. And this deal, you got to hold your nose to do this deal. You're not going to like me for it, but cut a deal. We actually let Hunter off and Joe Biden off in exchange for a mutual step down, first Kamala, then Biden, and then President McCarthy. And then President McCarthy doesn't have to run for office. He's just as a caretaker president until Trump or DeSantis or whoever gets in. And who knows, if McCarthy does a good enough job, maybe he could run and win. I don't know. But I think it's more likely to be Trump because I think there's enough stuff to get an accurate count this time, or at least an overwhelming tsunami of support for what's right and decent and logical for Americans to pick, rather than this insane um, left wing government rule. I mean, I think people are waking up to the fact that you could look at a city, any major city that's been under Democrat rule for 5 years. There, my mouth went again. First it was my ears, then it was my eyes. Now my mouth acted up again. 5 years. I know there's something wrong with it. Was it 5 months of Democrat rule? 5 years of Democrat rule? Oh, that's right. It was 50 years of Democrat rule in these major cities. Just absolutely war zones, crazy, dangerous, horrible places. And they still don't have enough money to run things. So I think it's time America is going to swing back, get a conservative in charge, because you can't have a liberal very long. The thing falls apart. The liberal lives off the success of the conservative for 4 to 8 years sometimes. And then they can't have a 12-year reign or something because it completely falls apart. And it's got to go back to the conservative side. And then once things are good again, there's more dough to spread out to give away to foreign enemies and stuff and to give to social causes that make no sense morally or logically, then goes back and forth. Conservative brings up the pie, then the liberals divide up the pie, and they claim the credit after the conservative administration. Look, it's starting to really fall apart for Biden now, but for a while there, he had a honeymoon period, right? Because of Trump, what Trump did there. So it takes a while for a train to stop. It takes a while for a train to start up. So it takes about 4 years for it to get going. Yeah, about 4 years for it to wind down. Now is a moment of truth. So ugly and so bad and so horrible that most Democrats don't want Joe Biden to run again. I think I saw a poll. Yeah, I did. It was the latest poll from New York Times. New York Slimes, my opinion. I'm not saying that's a real name. Opinion channel, New York Slimes. I'll say they act slimy. I won't say they're slimes, slime balls. I'll say they act slimy. But even in their own poll that came out yesterday or today, it was only about, I think it was about 4% or 6% of those under 30 that strongly approve of Joe Biden. Hello, that's including Democrats. So it's logical for him to step down, but horrible if he steps down first, so we get the equivalent of a Jezebel in office with Kamala. Oh, please, please, no, no, Kamala, no, Kamala. All right. But if they do not accept the deal, and they not let Kamala step down first, followed by Biden, and followed by President McCarthy, then take them to the mat and look for jail time for those who deserve jail. I'm not going to say who deserves jail necessarily, because I'll get kicked off the channel. But let's say his initials are JB, and the other one will be HB, and the other one will be KH. We'll leave it at that. Thank you. Until next time, this is the Opinions Channel. I'm Jerry, your host. Hope you enjoy this. Hope you learned something, and I hope you comment and share. Bye.